we recently saw that actually silver went up a little bit, and like you said, it is also an industrial metal. Do you think that's because certain industries are getting back in business, or do you think that was more because of speculation?
Yeah, I think, yeah, man, silver, I mean, look, it's long overdue. It's, people have been waiting on silver for the last 5 years to do anything. It's been stuck in this range of $15 to $18 forever, it seems. And it even dropped below that not too long ago. So we saw in the last 30 days, the price of silver come back over $17 an ounce. It was a nice increase. It was like a 10-15% jump for silver from under $15 an ounce. I think finally what happened is you started to see some of the speculation. The physical demand for silver really caught up and is, helping give that price some legs. I'm still disappointed that it's not higher, because in the last financial crisis, 2008 to 2011, the price of silver went up like 400%. So everyone is expecting for that same thing to repeat itself. It hasn't materialized yet. I don't think that we're nearly done. I think silver will challenge $20 an ounce probably this year, because investment demand is still very strong for silver right now. That being said, the industrial side of things is weighing down on the price. I don't have the exact figures because I don't follow industrial consumption of silver closely, but based on everything I know about the economy right now and the numbers that I'm seeing just in terms of earnings reports, and the general feeling and sentiment in the market is that industrial demand has to be down. There's no way it's up in this market. So I think that's definitely weighing on the price, but yeah, we're all a little bit disappointed to see that silver hasn't reacted better than it has so far.
Yeah. One theory that I've heard on the internet that I'm not endorsing, I would just pose it to you, is that sometimes silver has a lag behind gold when the price increases. Do you subscribe to that, or do you think that's not the case?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you could easily validate that theory just by studying kind of historical norms during crisis periods. There was a great article, I'll share it with you afterwards, written by one of my colleagues, Jeff Clark from silvergold.com, that really tackled that. He said, like, look at the performance of gold during crisis periods and then look at silver, and you're right. There tends to be a lag time between gold and silver. I think gold is primarily the crisis metal. Like, people really think, okay, well, I need a safe haven. What do I buy first? Is it gold or silver? If you had to pick one of the two, you'd probably buy gold. So that's going to immediately kind of drive the mainstream or be the area where the mainstream investors, the ETFs as well, and obviously central banks go is towards gold. But behind that, there is demand for silver, especially in the American market. Silver is not as highly in demand in Europe and Asia as it is relatively in the US investor market, because silver is subject to sales tax in a lot of places, a lot of parts of the world. When I was living in Germany, it was 19% sales tax on silver. So like, wow, very few people bought silver. Yeah, I know, you wouldn't do it, right? Some people still do. But yeah, so that the North American market is buying a lot of silver. So yeah, that's, like I said earlier, driving up the price, but it is lagging behind the gold price. It did happen in 2008 that way as well. Gold was up about 140% during that crisis, and and silver was up over 400%. So it did lag, but then it really skyrocketed. And thing to remember is silver is a really, really small market. I know gold bugs and people like myself and yourself, we enjoy precious metals. So we think of silver as like, it's a really big deal. And, there must be a lot of it in the world. The truth is it's a tiny market relative to gold, and then relative to every other, economic instrument that you can list basically. It's so it doesn't take a lot to move the price. So if we continue to see the strong investor demand, my expectation is, like I said, it's probably going to challenge $20 at some point in the near future.
That's a great point, because especially, like, I know with gold, the futures markets drive the fiat price a lot of the times, and with silver, from what I've seen, the futures markets are very small compared to gold.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. So, what do you think? I guess on that same subject, what do you think? What do you make of the silver to gold ratio, and how do you think people should look at that when they're deciding what ratio of gold or silver there should be?
Yeah, the silver to gold ratio is a really tough one, because it's, I've been trading and selling precious metals for a long time, and obviously it's something I've talked about quite a bit. A lot of my clients follow it closely and they bring it up in conversations, and so it has relevance, and I'm not saying to ignore it completely, but I often hear people say, well, once upon a time the ratio was 15 to 1, and You know, the historic mean is like 50 to 1, 45 to 1. That's fine, but how relevant is that? Are those historical means to today's market, today's economy, you know, and everything that we're living through now, which is like unprecedented in some ways, or definitely in our generations. So I challenge those who put too much emphasis on it, because you want to say like, how important is that information to me right now? The markets don't really care what the gold to silver ratio are or were once upon a time.
Yeah.
What they care about is the current supply and demand for those precious metals based on industrial and investment demand. That's it. So I don't personally, my opinion, I don't put a lot of faith in it when I'm buying. My buying strategy is very simple. I allocate a certain amount of money per month that I have to put into precious metals, and I try to create a balanced portfolio. So right now it's I think today it's somewhere around 55% gold, 45% silver, and the rest is in platinum group metals. So if I think silver is undervalued at a certain point in time, like when silver was under $14 an ounce, it was as low as 12 bucks an ounce within the last year, I think. I was loading up. I didn't look at the gold silver ratio. I just said, well, silver is really cheap relative to prices I've seen in silver before. But I guess those numbers tie together. But yeah, that's just my personal point of view. I'm not saying ignore it, but don't put too much faith in it, because the rules that applied, 20 years ago, 10 years ago may not apply again today.
Great points.